Alright, so I thought before I actually start this video in full, I basically show what the upgrade routes of this laptop are. So you can easily pop off the bottom cover and you'll have access to the hard drive. You'll have one free DIMM slot. I already upgraded it to an 8 gig stick when it initially came before. I also put in an SSD. This is a 250 gig SSD that's running Windows 7. And of course right here is where the DVD drive, where the little DVD drive goes, which is something I actually use a lot, so I'm not doing those little converter things and whatnot. So basically, if you read the title of this video, this is going to be a comparison between Windows 7 and Windows 10 on this laptop here. Like I said, this drive here has Windows 7, this drive here has Windows 10. So both OSs are running on an SSD, though this one's only 120 gigs compared to the 250 of this. With that said, there's still going to be no difference actually there's going to be a major difference. You'll see it throughout the video and whatnot. So I'm going to stop yakking and I'm going to get on with this video. Alright, so the first part of this video is going to be a boot time. Of course, right now I'm running Windows 7, so I'm going to see how long Windows 7 takes to boot. 3, 2, 1. This is from Cold Boot, for those that are wondering. I'll be doing that both with Windows 10 too. So it took a second longer than normal, but 25 seconds is still very, very reasonable for a boot up speed. Especially considering, like I keep saying, Windows 10 is trash. This thing's going to take a lot more longer to boot, most likely. And it's still on an SSD also, so I don't know what to say about that. But Windows 10 sucks. Alright, so Windows 7 took around 25 seconds or so to boot up. My stupid camera refuses to properly autofocus because Android's autofocusing is hot garbage. So let's see. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it's like 15 seconds slower. Then again, Windows 7 is supposed to be the better OS, but Windows 7 is still faster at boot up, and also apparently Windows 10 doesn't want to automatically connect to my Wi-Fi, even though I tell it to automatically connect, which is something I don't have to worry about with Windows 7. Oh, yeah, because turning off the check I said for it to connect to that is too difficult. Fucking garbage OS. So, let's get started now with the GTA 5 comparison. Alright, so as you can tell, I am on Windows 7, and I'm going to start off with GTA 5. Mainly due to the fact that there is a literal night and day difference between this game when it comes to running it on Windows 7 and Windows 10 respectively. On both run-throughs, I'll be using the exact same settings as you see right here. And I'm just going to run the benchmark. What I'll do is I'm going to do a hard cut, and I'll come back when it's actually done loading in the benchmark, and I'll have a time for how long it took for it to load the benchmark. You'll also notice that there is a major time difference also with Windows 7 and Windows 10 respectively. Again, Windows 10 sucks. So I'll come back when the benchmark is done loading. Okay, I can actually say that the benchmark took about 2 hours or so to load up. Okay, so it looks like we're having some city texture failing, but that is to be expected with what this computer is. But relatively speaking, the benchmark actually loaded up relatively fast compared to Windows 10. And also, look how all the ground textures have basically rendered. Okay, now everything's more or less rendering. FPS is low, which is to be expected for what I'm running, for what this thing's spec'd at. But again, it is running GTA 5. Even though 25 FPS really isn't playable, then again, this was a frame rate on the Xbox 360 and PS3 back in the day. So, but with that said, my main desktop, which is right here, runs this game at a decent 50 to 60 FPS, give or take, at max settings 1080p. So I am no console peasant. But I mean, we played GTA 5 on freaking 360, so at least for me, I'm kind of used to this lower frame rate. Then again, whenever I'm playing this game, I'm usually up in the air anyways. So usually I'm up in the sky. The frame rate hovers in the nice 30s or so. Actually, no, I think that's it. Actually, no, I think the benchmark took about 2 minutes. Well, I'll be able to look in the editing, and I'll have the actual time here. I'm just looking at it through how it's recording, or how it recorded and whatnot. Granted, I'm usually not this high. Granted, I'm usually higher, but still. Even though the frame rate's pretty freaking low, everything more or less loaded like it should. That won't be the case with Windows 10. Alright, so right after this will be GTA 5 on Windows 10. But I wanted to bring basically me just playing online, because this will not be capable with GTA 5 on Windows 10 on this laptop, as you'll see in that part of this video. I just want to show that this computer can in fact run this game. Granted, it's not at a nice frame rate like other computers, but In the end, it doesn't really matter considering Windows 10 completely shits the bed when it comes to GTA 5, as you will see. I just wanted to again just have a little bit of gameplay online before I go to that portion of the video. Granted, this is what I normally do in the game anyways, just fly around and go out there occasional grief or try hard if I feel up to it. But there is one more thing I want to do, and that is called a hard game shutdown. Basically forcing it to go into safe mode. Doing that will basically put all the settings I can't manipulate into the lowest settings possible. Now, of course, me doing this will have no bearing on the GTA portion of this video. I just want to see if I get any better frame rate online, so I'm going to do that and come back. And for those that don't know about GTA 5 safe mode, basically what safe mode does is it puts all the settings to the lowest it can possibly go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to here, change this to full screen, change this back to 720p, make sure that's that, and turn this off. Those are the only three settings I am changing, and the video camcorder, my stupid phone, decided to go stupid and not autofocus properly. So these are the three things I changed: full screen, resolution, and VSync off. So what I'm going to do now is those are the only settings I've changed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to load back into online and see if I get any better frame rates, and I'll come back. Okay, so I want to say there's maybe a slight improvement on the FPS. It's still lower, but it seems to be a lot more smoother at the very, very least. So I'm not having as much chopping as I was. But the frame rate's still relatively in the low 20s. I don't need an FPS counter to know my FPS on this game right now. It's definitely, like I said, it's definitely in the 20s, but it's a lot more smoother. And it looks like we're still having a little bit of texture pop in, but again, that is to be expected. But like I said, it's nothing in comparison to Windows 10, so this portion of this video has already taken way too long. So I'm just going to shut up now and go and come back when I get a Windows 10. When I get the Windows 10 SSD put into this computer and whatnot. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I forgot to mention. GTA 5 running on this laptop doesn't surprise me. That's because this here is the motherboard from my late 2009 13-inch unibody MacBook. This thing has 257 megabytes of VRAM with the NVIDIA GeForce whatever GPU on this thing. This ran GTA 5 also. So this computer running GTA 5 again doesn't surprise me. And again, this has gone on way too long, so I need to get on with the next part of this video and show GTA 5 failing on Windows 10 on this computer. Alright, so here's the settings. I have them set to the same that I had on the Windows 7 deal. And I'm going to run the benchmark. And what I'm going to do is I'll have basically right around here or so the actual time it took for the benchmark to load up, because it's going to take at least 10 minutes to load. Maybe even longer, depending on how this computer decides to load it up. But it's going to take an incredibly long time, and it'll be GTA 4ing on me. You'll see what I mean by GTA 4ing when I come back from the hard cut. Well, that took long enough, but as you can tell, it's doing what I call GTA 4ing. For those that don't know, that played GTA 5 way back in the day on PC, at least for me, every now and then, basically all the textures for the world will just take the shit and just not load. And either it got really, and then sometimes it'll get as bad to where I gotta physically turn off the game and reload it just to get the world textures to show up. Now, as you can tell, some of the world textures are loading, but not all of them, unlike with Windows 7. Oh yeah, and someone's probably going to say, why don't you just plug the computer into the power to get full performance out of this computer? It doesn't matter. It'll still do this on wall power, so I'm not going to do it. Of course, people aren't going to believe me, but still. I've been owning this laptop now for like at least 2 to 3 months. I mean, not 2 to 3 months, 2 to 3 weeks, and I know what this thing can and cannot do. And I know for a fact that this is a problem of Windows 10 and not the computer. Because if I was having the exact same problem with Windows 7 when it came to running this game on battery, I should be experiencing the exact same problems I am right now on Windows 7, but I don't experience any of these type of problems with Windows 7. Well, it never took this long to load this portion of the benchmark. There it goes. At least the frame rate's higher. But there ain't shit I can do if I can't see the world. Well, I think it's safe to say that I won't be getting through this benchmark with Windows 10. So, in closing for this portion of the video, this is a Windows 10 specific problem. If there was a problem with my laptop, I should have experienced the exact same problems I am experiencing right now on Windows 10, but on Windows 7, or I don't know how to probably word it, but Windows 7 loads of benchmarks, and I can go into multiplayer. With Windows 10, I can't even finish the fucking benchmark. What else is there to say? I don't even have to finish off all the comparisons that I really wanted to do, because this right here just proves my point. But I'm still going to run a few more comparisons before I actually end this video. So I'm going to Control-Alt-Delete this game and start up the next comparison. Alright, so here's another game that shows Windows 7 superior over Windows 10. Believe it or not, it's just a simple virtual novel. And of course, the virtual novel is A Sky Full of Stars. Again, this is just a virtual novel. You'll think something as simple as this should run just fine on Windows 10. Well, that's where you're wrong. So let me go on mute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to config. Oop, I forgot to do one thing. Give me a second. That was to turn on action so I can have a FPS counter right here. Granted, I really don't think it'll be needed, but still. So, first I'm going to start off with the text window. I want you to remember how smooth this text displayed itself. Next thing I want you to remember is how smooth the transitions are between each setting, or each setting tab. You get the general idea. Next, I'm going to play a little bit of the actual virtual novel. I'm not going to skip anything for the sake of consistency. So, I don't know if Windows 10 will actually do the same thing like it has in the past, but this would chug. I mean, it would be a visible chug. In the very beginning, where you just saw that little tree and whatnot, or whatever you call it, the very beginning, it would just go really stupid. It's hard to explain. But, again, you'll think of simple virtual novel like this should run just fine on this laptop on Windows 10. That's where you're wrong. I mean, again, this is a virtual novel. It takes nothing to run this thing. My stinking cell phone right here can run it. So, yeah. Let's get on with the Windows 10 part of this video for this game. Okay, so I'm trying to do the next portion of this video, and it's the virtual novel comparison. And this is fucking annoying. Every single time I try to copy this file over, it thinks the Steam dot whatever it is, which actually isn't there anymore, is a fucking virus, when it's not. And of course, this won't let me go and allow it to be there because fucking Windows Defender is hot trash. It is not severe. Restore it, you piece of shit. Give me a second to plug my mouse and make this a little more easier for me. The touchpad does work, but it'll be easier for me to just use the mouse for this particular part of this video, so... Yeah, didn't even go into full screen like I thought I put it in. There we go. So like I said, like I said in the previous part, this is a virtual novel. This is a very simple virtual novel, and I forgot to also turn on action on this thing too. Fucking computer. Okay, so after that I got action up and running again. Now, if my memory serves, the frame rate was a near constant 60 FPS. And that was just on the splash screen, like basically the start screen. I'm already in the 40s. You can already get a general idea how well this is going to go. Alright, so remember how I said to remember how smooth the text showed itself on Windows 7? Look how smooth it is on Windows 10. Also, look at the frame rate. Now, of course, window transparency is down low, but there we go. Again, this is just a virtual novel. Why is it this ungodly laggy? Now, also remember how smooth the transitions between settings were. I mean, between tabs were on Windows 7. You get the general idea. Oof, 7 frames. Oh, 15 frames a second and chugging like a motherfucker. Again, this is a virtual novel. What else is there to say? This was nice and smooth. The whole little transition was nice and smooth. And on Windows 10, it's chuggy, slow, shitty as hell, low-ass frame rate. If the GTA portion of this video that took ungodly long didn't convince you Windows 10 is garbage, this should. Alright, I don't know if there's going to be as much disparity between Windows 7 and Windows 10 with this particular game, because this game runs pretty horrible on any computer, even the high-ends, but still. And of course, right now I am still on Windows 7, and the settings I am using for this particular game, if the game decides to load me back in, there we go. Turned off VSync, well basically turned this off. I'm running at native resolution, and I turned all this other crap off. Because I didn't change any settings in the first place. And of course, got an FPS counter right here, which is currently around 21 or so FPS, give or take where I am on the world. Like I said, I don't know if there's actually going to be any difference between this game and Windows 7 and Windows 10. I just want to add this game into the mix because this is a game I play, just not that often due to the low player count and the occasional cheater. Even though Little Orbit has been doing their work to make sure this game's actually playable again and it has less cheaters. this game still has its problems. And did I really see what I thought I just saw a while back over there? How's that still alive? That clan's full of fucking cheaters. Let alone most of them. Let alone that freaking clan died years ago. I'm going into APP lore, and most people don't know this, but still. Just also wanted to point that out, that somehow there's still a few idiots out there that think their little stupid clan guild thing in this game still alive. But like I said, I don't know if there's going to be any disparity. I don't know if there's going to be any difference between Windows 7 and Windows 10 with this particular game. But there might be. I think Windows 7 actually is a lot more smoother at this game than Windows 10. Then again, we'll have to wait and see, because we'll see when I actually load up to Windows 10 and whatnot. I think with that said, that'll pretty much be all the games I'm going to be basically testing. So onto the Windows 10 version, or basically onto Windows 10. Alright, so the last game is APP Reloaded. And of course I am on Windows 10 now, so this will be part of the APP, this will be part of the comparison for that particular game. And of course I have an FPS counter here. I'll actually turn on the in-game FPS counter. Now, of course, I'm inside an internal structure, so the frame rate's going to be higher. Oh, and I forgot to show the settings. And of course, I'm using what I remember to be the exact same settings on Windows 7. Because I did not change anything, and let me leave the goddamn settings, you piece of shit game. I see the district checks. Yeah, I see district chat is still being as cancerous as ever. The disparity isn't as bad, like disparity isn't that bad. I mean, no, frame rate is definitely lower. It is still a pretty horrible playthrough than what Windows 7 was. But at least this game is, to an extent, somewhat playable. Then again, I'm better off playing this game on Windows 7 on this computer than on 10. Because Windows 10 is not optimized for shit. I mean, the previous two games show it right then and there that's pretty freaking unoptimized for an OS. I'm also noticing a lot more texture pop-in than I was on Windows 7. Well, I believe that's it for the comparison part of this video. I'm going to have another part of this video where it's just me griping about Windows 10 on this laptop overall. And pretty much anyone can just ignore that because the main portion of this video is done. So, yeah. Okay, so this is the last bit of this video. Basically me just showing how this particular computer has major problems in comparison to another computer, which is a Dell laptop running Windows 10. So, basically, this thing will refuse to go to sleep or shut down on Windows 10. It won't go to sleep on Windows 7 neither, but at least it'll shut itself down. I do not have the wireless mouse plugged in. I'm just using the trackpad. I'm going to tell this computer to go to sleep. And instead of it actually going to sleep, it just boots itself right back up. And here is my Dell laptop. If I tell it to go to sleep, it goes to sleep and stays asleep, as it should. While this thing refuses to do that very simple task. So let's say I want to shut this computer down. Instead of shutting down, it restarts. What type of bullshit is this? I don't know if this is a Windows 10 problem or if it's a problem with this laptop. Then again, if it was a problem with the laptop, I should be experiencing the same problem with shutting the system down if I was running Windows 7 on this thing, which I'm going to show at the very tail end of this part of this video. But yeah, this thing won't shut itself down even if I wanted it to. I can't shut this computer down properly. Now if I go to my little Dell tablet here, I'm thinking most likely the reason why I'm not having major problems with this one, with this particular tablet, is because this is a office-based computer. So they have to make sure this thing doesn't have that many problems. And as you can tell, I told the thing to shut down. And as you can tell, it shut itself down. And to turn this thing completely off, I gotta press and hold the freaking power button. That's the only way to get this thing to stay off and whatnot. And of course, if I press and hold the power button for the Dell, apparently the power button on my Dell is going a little bad. There it goes. As you can tell, the thing shut itself down properly. This thing, I can't do that worth shit. Okay, so this one did take a little. Both these computers take incredibly long to boot. And the annoying part is both of these computers, they both have SSD drives in them. And and my stupid cell phone's camera refuses to properly autofocus. Yeah, because opening up Chrome is what I told you to do. God, I hate Android's autofocusing. I'm gonna beat this phone. The Lenovo refires itself back up. But this thing is completely shut down. I have no power indication lights on whatsoever. This computer is completely turned off. Let me actually pull it off the keyboard. There it goes. Yeah, the power button might be going a little bit bad on this computer, which stinks because this still isn't a bad little computer, but it has thermal throttling issues that basically Dell doesn't allow the processor to get to a certain temperature, and if it gets to a certain temperature, this thing becomes practically useless. It just slows to a freaking crawl at times. So I might actually just end up uploading this whole video separate on the original video separately too. Just I have a whole separate video I can link to just to show Windows 10 being hot fucking garbage in a more simplified fashion. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the SSD drive that has Windows 7 in it and put this back in and reboot the computer. Now I also did start the original long video with this also. But since I'm uploading this video separately, I do also want to show what the upgrade routes for this particular laptop are. You can upgrade the hard drive, and you can upgrade the RAM. This thing initially comes with 4 gigs. I put an 8 gig stick in here. You can also go from those little hard drive, the little DVD drive to hard drive converter caddy thingies, and do that also. But since I actually use the DVD drive a lot, I'm not going to do it. So yeah, I'm one of the very few people that actually use these things and likes having laptops that have these. So yeah, I'll come back when I get the hard drive installed and whatnot. Alright, so as you can tell, I got Windows 7 loaded up and whatnot. So basically, when it comes to the sleeping function of this computer, I still have the exact same problems as I do with Windows 10. I'm not touching anything. Oh, it actually put itself to sleep. Interesting. This didn't happen last time when I was trying to do this video. I was trying to make it shorter, but apparently that's not going to be the case. Can I press the power button to get to sleep? No, I cannot. So what happens if I close the lid? Wow. It actually puts itself to sleep. The reason why I'm acting so surprised is because, like I said before, it didn't do this on Windows 7 initially until now. So, it even puts itself to sleep. And of course, if I hit shutdown, it shuts itself down and stays shut down. As you clearly can tell, it's off and it stays off. It's not going to turn back on unless I hit the power button. So this goes to show Windows 10 being hot fucking garbage. And I broke off one of the little tabs that hold the base on. Whatever. So, Lenovo, your move. Are you going to remedy this problem, or am I going to be stuck with this broken with a laptop that sucks ass on Windows 10? Or are you going to give me a driver for Windows 7 so I can use a trackpad on this laptop properly with a functioning OS? I have no idea how pissed I am. Well, actually, I'm not pissed. I am pissed. Because everyone says, well, not everyone. Microsoft and Lenovo says Windows 7 is a superior OS. And yet I prove them fucking wrong. A fucking 27-year-old with autism is capable of proving a multi-million, if not billion-dollar fucking company, 2 companies, proving that Windows 10 is fucking hot trash. Let that sink in. I'm 27. So I'm 27. I have autism. I just showed that Windows 10 is fucking garbage, and that's even if you didn't watch the original hour-plus long video I uploaded of me trying to play a few games and whatnot on this computer with Windows 10 and Windows 7 respectively. Spoiler alert: Windows 10 sucks, even at gaming on this thing. So yeah, this video went for 10 minutes long. I'm going to stop it here before it gets any longer. At least I'm not monetizing my videos. Thank God. Also, if there is an ad on my YouTube video, for the love of God, use ad block. Also, fuck you, Mundane Matt.